I got going on here? This is hello everyone and welcome. I'm Connie, technically challenged Douglas, yet again, but we've had it pretty easy lately, haven't we? So it perhaps it's only appropriate that tonight technology would cause me a level of confusion or grief, because I thought I clicked all the same things that I usually click, and it wasn't doing what it normally does. So anyway, technology, it's, like I said, it's been good to me lately. So I guess I shouldn't complain. I'm not really complaining. Do like the new laptop. It is so much faster. My life is so much less stressful with this new one. And I don't have everything all set up and put together on it, but I have everything that I desperately need day in and day out. So that's a good thing. The rest I will, continue to work along at, and, it'll all be there soon enough. Anyway, who's joining me tonight? Who's here? Let me know. Give me a hello. Let me know that you're on here with me, and I am just going to try and get this going. I don't know why it won't scroll any further than it's scrolling. Okay, maybe technology is not working well tonight. I don't know why. I have a little box in a box too. That's not really what I want, is it? Oh, maybe it is Facebook. Okay, so that's where I want to be. Lorna, hello. Donna, look, I can see that you're here now. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's one of those things. But like I said, technology for the most part has been cooperating lately, so it's all fine. Anyway, thank you both for joining me this evening. I'm excited to have you here. I'm very happy. I hope you're going to craft with me tonight. You've been so busy, doing nothing. Yes, we have missed you the last couple of weeks, Lorna. So it's good to have you back here. And I don't know if you're still busy with grandkids, if you've had time to prepare for the crafting tonight. I'm kind of excited about tonight's card. It's a fancy fold. It looks like it's kind of tricky and difficult and all that, but it's not. It's a faux card. It's actually called a faux step card, and I will confess it is not my original design. It was shared by another demonstrator, and I did look up her name and I don't remember it. And I don't know that she was. I kind of think she had cased it from someone else. So it's a design that is making its way around these days, but it looks like it's got lots of complicated cutting, and it doesn't. So yay. Anyway, what else? What else is new? What is new with you ladies? What's going on with you? Let me know. And, I have a wonderful weekend that we are starting on, because hey, it's Friday night. Did I say that? Did I say any of these things? Because I was being technically challenged. So it is Friday, April the 1st. This is not an April Fool's joke, because that's all supposed to end at noon, isn't it? Isn't that how it worked when you were kids? This is for real, but it is Friday, and this is Connie's Craft Along, and it's the weekend. So I have some really good weekend stuff going on this weekend, because it's a big kids weekend. My daughter is coming up tomorrow, and we are going to work on her wedding invitations. This is kind of it's their third kick it at the can for a date, but they're just the second time they sent out invitations, because they were supposed to get married in 2020. Of course, that all fell through, but they had already sent out their invitations. And then they tried for 2021, and we didn't actually make invitations because it all fell through before we got that far. And now they have it booked for this August. And I think that whatever the situation is, they will find a way to get married in August this year. But they are sending out invitations yet again. So she is coming up to work on those with me. We've got a design, and I've done a lot of cutting, so it's just some assembly now. So anyway, that's tomorrow, but we'll get to hang out for a little while, and that's always a good thing. And then on Sunday, my son is moving into a new apartment, and so we are helping him move some stuff. So I will get to see him. I haven't actually seen him since early December, I think. I used to go and we'd grab a coffee after synchro on Sunday when I was down in the city. So it's been a while. Didn't actually see him at Christmas this year. He's a manager at Loblaws, and so he was working over the Christmas holidays because he was in a relatively new position and wanted to impress the boss. So, hello, Vera, welcome. I'm so glad you could join us this evening. I'm just, I'm babbling, but I'm all excited because I think it's a really great card for you tonight, and I have a really great weekend coming up, seeing both of my kids. So that is always so special. So anyway, shall we do some crafting? Let me move us down and we will get ready. Okay, so for tonight's card, and this is just for one card, so if you want to make more than one, hopefully you've cut multiples. But your card base is 9 by 4 1/4, scored at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, and 5 3/4. So right there, it's going to be, looks a little different, doesn't it? Anyway, it is a little different, but it's all good. Okay. Then you have a piece of cardstock that is 8 1/2 by 2 1/4, and that is scored at 5 1/2. Some designer series paper. Oh, I should start with number 1, right? So, and I just called them 1 and 2 because I've 2 different patterns. So hopefully you were able to kind of discern that. So, hello, Donna. Said you were watching with me before. Maybe that was because my my computer was doing weird things. But anyway, glad you're here, Donna. Okay, so designer series paper, your first pattern piece is 2 by 5 1/4. And then there is a second piece of designer series paper that you cut 4 by 4, and then you take 1 inch off the bottom. And I said to align during assembly. So let me explain what I meant by this, just in case you didn't quite have a clue what I was talking about. When we put it together, we want the pattern to kind of, be continuous. So it probably wouldn't matter, but if you had a very obvious pattern, we would want it to sort of flow. These two pieces aren't back to back, side by side, and in fact, they kind of overlap. But anyway, that was the theory of what the to align during assembly meant, just in case you were wondering what my crazy instructions were. Okay, you need 2 pieces of basic white cardstock, one that is 3 by 4, and then some sort of scrap that you can stamp your sentiment on and punch it or die cut it, or you can leave it just cut. You can fussy cut it, whatever you like, but a piece of paper for that. And then I said an interest element, perhaps a die cut, which this is. This is from the Beautiful Trees. Isn't that terrible? I think it's called Beautiful Trees. Anyway, it's the tree set, Beautiful Friendship, Beauty of the Earth. Beauty of the Earth Suite, I think, was the name of it. But anyway, it's a tree die. Or you could have an interesting punch shape if you have the, what do we have? One of the builder punches that creates little things like a tulip or something. Or you could just have a stamped image on a piece of cardstock, just something to create a focal point, somewhere where your eye would sort of look, something of interest. So if you now understand that a little better and you don't have something prepared, don't worry, you'll have an opportunity to cut or stamp or prep or whatever. Okay, so we will get started here. So first thing we will do is we will fold all of our pieces on the score line. So the main card base piece, you're just going to fold mountain fold. So I've folded this one back. So then this next line, and this is where the two are close together. I'm going to fold it up. And then I'm going to fold it back on itself. Okay. Just want to make sure, yes, everything is lining up nicely on the back. Okay. And so at this point, I will tell you that this is a faux step card. I don't know if you've ever made a step card or seen a step card, but there is funky cutting. A lot of times, I'll show you. Let's move on to the next piece, and then it'll become a little bit more apparent. So this strip, you're just going to fold. There's only one score line, so just fold it on that score line. So a step card, there's some steps here, and then there's usually a piece. It would be a side step like this, or a center step, or something. So your card would look like this. It would have these steps, but this piece would be all, sorry, that's a little bit of the camera, wouldn't it? It would be all one piece. And so when you open this up, this would be the same length, and it's not, because we're faking it. But you would have to, you would score across here, but then you'd have to cut just on the inside here, but not all the way, and you have to score here, but not here and there. But it they're beautiful cards, step cards, but there is some kind of a little bit tricky with the cutting. So this way, it's going to look, when we're finished, like a center step card, but we didn't have to do any funky cutting. So that's why it is a fancy fold, but easy. Okay, so let's, it's actually fairly easy to assemble. Let's just set all these pieces aside and bring in your scrap. And you can put, oh, look at Beauty of Friendship. That's the stamp set. And the dies, I think, are beautiful, beautiful trees or something. It's pretty bad, isn't it? Sorry. Anyway, moving on. So I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm going to see if the thinking of you, I'm going to use this punch for my sentiment. You can punch out your sentiment, as I said, or die cut it, or yes, that will totally fit in there. Okay, so I'm going to use thinking of you, and then I will punch it. So I don't know whether any of you have ever seen me mount my stamps a lot or not, but I use my grid paper to get it straight, and then my clear block I line up with one of the lines, and I push it down, and usually it's relatively straight. That's tonight's almost kind of sort of tip. So I am using Mary Merlot, which is what my cardstock is. And I will tell you now that I did punch a piece to be a frame, because when I made one, I thought it needed a little something, because my sentiment piece was not as big as what the card that I saw was. So it just needed a little something extra. So I have an extra piece of cardstock here. So if you do not have an extra piece of cardstock that looks like a little mouse took a little bite out of, we'll just trim that a little bit, and no one will ever know. It's one of those goofball things that I would see forever. So anyway, so if you want to grab another piece of cardstock for your sentiment, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to bring this in, and I am just going to stamp this onto here, plunk it right in the middle, because I'm going to punch it out. And this actually doesn't really matter if it's straight or not, which is sort of good, because I didn't really look at whether I had my cardstock straight. But because I'm going to punch it, it doesn't matter as much. I can straighten it as I punch it. So that is the only stamping I'm doing. If your interest element, or whatever I called it, yes, the interest element is a stamped image, you can go ahead and stamp that as well on, and you may need to go grab a piece of paper, I guess, for that. But go ahead and stamp that if that's how you're doing it. And I will continue on here to punch this. I need a handle for this. Where are my post-it notes? Oh, they're on my other table. Wow. Here's your second trick of the night, in case you haven't seen this one. When you are punching something and your paper's not quite big enough to get it placed exactly the way you want it, you stick a post-it note on it, then you have a handle. Actually, maybe I'll put a post-it note over here so I can hold it with this hand and punch with the other hand. And then you can get a small piece of paper wherever you want it. This is fantastic if you are punching a shape from designer series paper. Stampin' Up! Has started to do dies and punches that match a shape on our designer series paper, which is awesome. But sometimes the images are very, very close together. And so if you don't want to punch into something else, you have to trim the designer series paper, quite close to the edge of your image. Then you just use a little post-it note handle to punch it. And that way you don't punch anything extra. And you can get them all. So I'm going to assume that I want this on it would never be a bad thing to have a frame. So I'm just going to attach it while I'm here. It may not need it, but it's going to have it. Okay. So once you have that, we are ready to put everything together. So we'll start with the two pieces of the designer series paper. So the small one is going to go on this front section, and then the larger piece is going to go on this back section. Okay, and you can use, I can always do this. Okay, so here, breaking my rule, not rule, but where I suggest that you have things align, I could do that too. It's kind of interesting. Oh dear. Don't you hate it when she recreates everything mid-class? I don't think I want all that because this is going to be on top of it, which could be a little bit busy. But there's also interesting how the trees went one way. Maybe I don't even have those pieces of paper going the same way after all. But I could do that, couldn't I? Oh, let me get my thumb out of here so you can kind of see. Maybe I should put this on. A lot of the trees get covered up, so maybe we'll just stick with green for this one. It's an interesting idea, though. But I should cut my paper to get the trees. There's probably sections of trees where I wouldn't cut the tops off. I don't know. I'd have to look at this. They are on a bit of a, but I think I have this piece. If I had this piece, it's straighter. But, okay, we're not going to do that. Back to plan A. Just put this together. All right. So I placed my pre-order for the new catalog this morning. So I have ordered lots of fun goodies. All the new in colors, they are awesome. They are to die for. I think everybody's really going to like them this year. Maybe. I don't know. I just know I really like them this year. There's some nice bright stuff. There's some pretty stuff. I will tell you right now, there's some gorgeous colors, and that pretty much tells you that there's blue involved, because blue is my favorite color. As you know, I was crying because Misty Moonlight was going away, and I super cried last year when Seaside Spray went away. But they have I think they've done an awesome job this year, because there is blue involved again, and there's some really nice colors, I would say. And there's, of course, some wonderful embellishments. Ooh, you know me. I love my gems. So some new gems that I have coming. And what else? Well, there's awesome stamp sets and bundles and dies. I only ordered one collection, but I did order a collection. It might be the one that's on the cover that I showed you the other night. Lorna, you were here the other night. Oh, I may have to pull that out again. One moment. Where did it go? Okay. Here it is. So, Lorna, you missed this the other night. This is the cover of the new catalog. And it's all I can show you right now. You may recall when I did my kickoff for the mini catalog in January, I actually started it on the Monday night. Actually, I should look at what day. May 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it's going live on a Tuesday again. And I was thinking of doing my kickoff Monday to Friday again. Oh my, that's so silly. I may rethink that. But anyway, last time, all I could show you the first night was the cover of the catalog, which is all I can show you right now. But look, okay, so I have been through the catalog, but not often. I'm thinking this is designer series paper. I can't honestly tell you that it is or it is not. But like, what else would it be? It really looks like designer series paper. I haven't studied them that close yet. But then look at these flowers. They are beautiful. I love all the different shading colors, and it's got to be a distinctive stamp set. And then wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. Like, that is just, I love that sentiment. I just love it. And then we've got this little blissfully dots here. Oh, leaves. Pretty, 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 pretty. Loving it. Anyway, this is the suite I ordered. I'll tell you that much. So you know there's dies, you know there's stamps, you know there's great sentiments, you know there's gems. And this has got to be the designer series paper, because there's usually designer series paper in those. I didn't even look at what was in the collection. Well, I did, but I don't remember. All I know is I really liked it all, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to get the whole thing. So I did. I've ordered it. So there we go. I digress. Should we get back to crafting? Okay, so next we are going to put some adhesive on the back of the long bottom piece. That makes sense. So I think you don't want to go above where it's going to attach. So I'm just going to put a third piece out, because I want this nice and secure here. And then you are just going to put it in the middle and line it up at the bottom here. You could put it up, I guess. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to put it right down at the bottom. I think actually for where it's folded, that might be what you want. There we go. Give that a nice press. Oh, sorry. I'm jiggling you, aren't I? I'm wiggling and jiggling tonight. Okay, and then what we're going to do is fold it all up, and this piece here we're going to put adhesive on, and it is just going to lay down onto here. So again, you just want adhesive right at this edge. Okay. So I am thinking of doing my catalog launch similar to the way I did it in January, with a series of evenings where I do Facebook Lives and just go through different things that I want to share with you and show you and that sort of thing. So hopefully you will join me for that. It'll be in May though. It's not for a little while yet. It'll be after the catalog goes live, and so you can actually see more of the products in the catalog and all sorts of things. Plus, I have to get some samples made. So I was sort of surprised at how many samples and things you go through when I did that last time. It was, I will confess that it sort of caught me off guard. I love doing it and everything, but oh my, it was an interesting week. So I'm going to attempt to put some little tiny dimensionals onto this tree. So I know I can get one on the trunk there, and I know I can get one here, but I'd really like a little bit up top here. Oh, you love that. Oh, excellent. Okay, Lorna, see, you know what? When I know you like it and you enjoy doing it, then it's so worth the time and the effort. So happy to do it. The craft sale. You know what? It went well. Not quite as busy as it had been in December when I did it. It was at the same place, run by the same group, but it was a dreary, wet, kind of yucky day. So that probably had something to do with it. Do you know what you got for the cards in the? Oh, I did. I kind of think. I think they had a minimum bid of $20 actually, and the woman that organized it, that has actually bought cards from me before because she has a little senior care kind of business, she ended up buying them, and I think she paid $25 for them. So at least that's what it was the last time I looked. I don't know that I looked at the very end, but I think that's about what it was. So they did quite well in the auction though. They raised I think about $1,600 for, there was two charities that they were supporting, the Berry Food Bank and a Berry, I think it was a women's shelter. So yes, so they were quite pleased apparently, but that was our youth group at the church. So yes, I think that went well for them. So all things considered, but our church is also doing a market in May, and so I think they should have some raffle stuff there too. That would be a good idea. And then they could sell raffle tickets and raise money for something. So maybe, I don't know. I think they need special permits, so maybe they don't want to do that. But anyway, so there is my tree attached, and then I am just going to put my sentiment down at the bottom here, and I'm going to put it on with dimensionals as well. Yes. So yeah, gosh, I guess it's been a little while since we've chatted. Well, that was only in March, wasn't it? Anyway, thanks for asking there, Lorna. Yes, I'll have to ask Carrie how much she got for the cards, but I think it was $25, which is which was quite the deal. But oh well, it didn't cost them anything to get them. I donated them, and it helped them raise some money. So, so there we go. Look at that. Where would you put? Oh, thank you. You're right. And you know, when I made my sample, which I'll show you in a minute, I put this on early in my card making, and then this came over top, and I thought, oh, I don't think that's right. So then I had to put a second piece of paper on top. So then I thought, I have to remember to not put this on right away. And then I totally forgot to put it on. Okay, yes. So the 3x5 piece of white cardstock that you have just goes on the back of the card. So then it hides this seam and it creates a place for you to put your message and sign it. So I don't know why my table is so wobbly tonight. Every time I do anything, you guys really wobble. Does it always do that? I just never notice. Anyway, there we go. Look at that. It's a center step card, but it's not. That's why it's a faux step card. And then people can stand it up. It's a little bit hard, I guess, for you to see the effect, but if it was sitting on a tabletop, it would look like this. So they have this beautiful card that they can display, and it was super easy to make. And like I said, you could have a stamped image here. You could have, you know, something that you stamp or color or die cut or anything at all. Anything, you know, it doesn't matter. And you can change up your paper. I did. I made one other. You know what? I'm sure I made this when I first saw it, but for the life of me, I can't find the card. I was looking all over the place today, so I made another one just so I could. And then I thought, maybe I was thinking I should make it, and I didn't. Maybe I was just watching. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know whether I have that card or not. I thought I did, but anyway, here's one that I made. Same thing. This is very thick at the back because there's the coastal cabana, and then there's a layer of basic white, and then there's this, and then there's another layer of basic white. So it's quite thick at the back, but anyway, and this is the Waves of Inspiration paper, as is this, and then my little pelican guy. I love him. He's so cute. So I stamped him and die cut to go on there, and this is from the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. So there is that one as well. There we go. So those are the cards. I did cut. I cut to make another one, which I could sit here and craft. Then I have to babble on some more. You have to listen to me babble on some more. Of course, I guess you don't have to listen to me. You could put this on mute, couldn't you? You could leave. I would never know. But anyway, or everybody could tell me something interesting that happened to them this week. Something fun, something new, something different, something. Oh, just tell me something that happened this week. Doreen Roberts, hello and welcome. We're making a faux step card. So it looks fancy, but it's super easy to make. This is what it is. So it looks like a center step card. Not sure whether you've ever made these before or not, but as I was telling everyone earlier, when you make a proper center step card, or you know, the way they've always been, there's a lot of funky cutting because you don't cut from here. You have to just cut inside. You don't want to cut the whole thing, and you score here but not there. Anyway, they're a little bit tricky, and they've got weird cutting and things. Whereas these end up looking like virtually the same thing, but they're super easy to make. So if you saw the supply list, you can craft along because I'm making another one. So there is the card base, and it is just alternating mountain and valley folds to create that. And then the strip is just folded because there's only one score line for that. Okay, and I have the expressions ink. Oh my word, my brain is mushy. Expressions of ink. No, it doesn't sound right. Artistically inked is the stamp set, but anyway, that that pretty paper with the gold foiling and the flowers and everything. That's what I'm using. Yes. Okay. So let's get these pieces down. These are actually they're back-to-back pieces, front and back, which you don't have to use, but there happened to be a pretty pattern on the front and just sort of a neutral thing on the back. I might not be able to make this whole card because I don't think I did anything to put on the front of this one. This is really hard to see. I didn't do my interest element for this one. I was supposed to die cut something. I was going to do that, but I neglected to do so. I could pull out my Dean Harding. Wow. Hi, Dean. We don't want to hear what the weather is like where you are. Not that that's likely to stop you from telling us, but go ahead and tell us. Go ahead. Go ahead. Dean is where it's all lovely and warm. Down in, well, I assume you're still in Brazil. I don't actually know that because you've been traveling around so much this year. But anyway, it's warmer where he is than where we are. But that's okay. I was watching the weather. It's supposed to be 8 and 10 most days next week, so that's quite warm. I was half thinking it would be nice to ski one more time. We skied on Wednesday, and the weather was not good, but oh my goodness, the snow was awesome. So my girlfriend skied with us, and it was her last outing of the season. It was just so wonderful. I said to you, I'd really like to come once more. Can we maybe try and come once again? So we'll see. Don't know whether that will happen or not, but it would be nice. Okay, I did get out ink for this, and I got another stamp set. I was thinking actually I might use the prize peony. My thoughts are with you, which I think makes a nice, it's a nice sentiment for a sympathy card. And I really like this paper for sympathy cards. I don't know why. Maybe just because it's soft peach or I don't know. It just, I guess I find it sort of soothing, which just something we all want and need. Those sad toys. And I thought I got out ink, and where did I put the ink? Maybe I did not get out ink. Okay, one moment. I got out cardstock, but clearly I did not grab the ink. So I have Old Olive and I have Pale Papaya. Maybe Old Olive. We'll figure out the border after. Okay. So nobody has told me anything exciting that happened this week, or anything fun, or anything. Dean, you probably have lots of stories of things that happened this week that you could share with us. Dean sends me silly little thoughts and pictures and sayings and stuff on Facebook Messenger almost every day. So there's usually some little chuckle that he shares with us. Okay, so I can tell already by the size of this piece of cardstock that I'm going to need my little handle again. So I have put that on there. And so this time I'm actually going to cut going to cut my handle, which isn't the end of the world. It's just a Post-it note, and they don't stick very long. But you do need to have it somewhere where you can still see that you've got things lined up the way you want them. So that's why I moved it, because I couldn't quite see the edges. It was distracting. It was distracting my vision, was what it was doing. So, and your eyes play games with you. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, and then I did get both pieces of cardstock out to make a border. So it's going to go on to here. So maybe the pale papaya. Probably, maybe. We'll just do this. If we don't like it, we'll tear it apart and go with the old olive. If anyone hasn't seen this trick, you just cut this punch in half, and then you can make a frame for your sentiment. Okay. So I went shopping today and got a bunch of household stuff for my son. It's you know, setting up house. Well, I know he's excited about this place, but I think it's kind of a mother thing, I think. But anyway, I went shopping for him, so I had fun. Isn't that all that matters? That I had some fun. So I did. What do I have? What could I do that's close by? You know what? I was going to say we made tulips the other night, but they're not even here. That's not really going to work, is it? What else do I have? Oh my goodness. How about a cat? Cat? No, that's not quite right. A dragonfly? I could stamp one of these guys. Sure. How about a dragonfly? I have some paper here, and we could do him in. We'll try him in the old olive. I had thought about cutting the dies from this have a leaf sprig, and I had thought about using that, but clearly I forgot to cut it. So, we'll improvise. What the heck? Hopefully it's a thin one. Yes. And then it will be, do I need more than one? But I'll start with one, and we'll see how it turns out. This is why punches are so wonderful, right? Just stamp and punch, quick and easy. If I'd had my my mini cut and emboss machine, maybe I could have done that. But it's way down at the other end of my craft studio, so we'll go with this. I can get it up. Will one be enough? One should work, shouldn't it? That'll be okay. Susie McKenzie, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Everybody's tuning in tonight. Nobody has anything to do on a Friday night. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we're just going to line this up in the middle of this at the bottom and stick it down there, and then flip it over, and I'm going to put adhesive on this end like that. Again, making sure that you only do a couple of rows right near the bottom, because you don't want to go higher and stick this to itself, and then that just folds right over. And now we can put the This is the 3x5 piece of basic white cardstock. And I will remember to put it on this time. Thank you, Lorna, for asking last time. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to pop this guy up with dimensionals. So we'll just get some of these guys onto here. I don't think I can get one onto his tail, but that's okay. A lot of times when I do the dragonflies, I only attach them down through the middle anyway, but this guy, we've kind of got him covered all over. So these are very tiny. I should have grabbed the larger ones, but these two will work. They're very sticky, so they will hold just fine. Okay. Get these backs off of here. I find the little ones, I can't pull them. I don't know, somehow the way my hands are so used to using the bigger ones that I get the backs off quickly and easily, and these not as much. There we go. So we'll just put him, and it's okay if your element, whatever it is you're using, goes over the edges. The tree went over the edge a little bit, but of course, you know, your card is ultimately it's this wide, so it doesn't have to completely fit onto that center strip. Can hang over the edges. That one didn't actually come off. There we go. Okay, and we'll put this right. Maybe I'll put this up just a little bit higher on this one because Dragonfly's not quite. It's definitely not as big as the tree. And there we go. There is that one finished. So these again are just they are so quick and easy. Well, relatively quick, but certainly easy. There is not the tricky cutting needed to make the center step, and yet it has the same end effect. And that's that's why this is such a phenomenal. I don't know how to put these so you can see them. I guess they have to kind of be this way, don't they? But they're a little poofy. So anyway, there are tonight's cards, and let me just find my mouse in all this stuff. I have everything kind of everywhere. I will join you again. There we go. So those are the cards. I hope you like them. I hope you give it a try. Do let me know what you think, and if you make one, how it turns out. And, yeah, I think they're fun. I like that they're so easy. I like when things look complicated but aren't, because everybody thinks you slaved. I slaved for hours. Like the Rice Krispies. You know, I spend hours and days in the kitchen just trying to. I still struggle with light, but partly I'm going to blame it on the fact that that the husband is working on the ceiling right now, and so the lights are a little bit messed up. But where do I need to be? Where do I need to get some light on me? shed some light on me. But anyway, oh, the dragonfly is your favorite. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I hadn't cut anything else out then, Lorna. Otherwise, I would have just gone with it. But yeah, it did. It turned out really well on there, didn't it? It totally works. Yes. So, Donna, I'm glad you think they're lovely. Thank you so much. So, anyway, that is the crafting for tonight. Thank you all very much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. If you have not subscribed to my mailing list, please do so. You will find it at, let me just move these down a little bit, greatstampingwithconnie.com. And I would love to have you share this video with your friends and others on Facebook and let them see what fun we had tonight. Maybe they'll want to come along next time. So thank you so much for being here. Have an awesome weekend, and we will see you all again really soon. Bye for now.